As 2024 nears its end, winter is tightening its grip on Ukraine, but Russian forces are tightening theirs even more. Armed with precision weaponry and unrelenting momentum, Russian forces continue to gain new territory every day. Despite NATO's backing with billions of dollars in weapons and aid, Kiev's front lines are crumbling, and the nation's energy infrastructure lies in ruins amidst the harsh winter cold. The precision of Russian weaponry is devastating, with a single day in December seeing nearly 100 missiles and 200 drones raining down on Ukrainian positions. The Ukrainian president keeps pleading with his Western allies for more aid, asserting that Moscow must be stopped.
Every time there are new Russian attacks on our country, we need, and this is an objective need, steps to demonstrate to Putin that his terror must not work. He uses missiles instead of looking for ways to end the war.
Russia has captured over 2,350 square kilometers in eastern Ukraine this year, steadily eroding Ukrainian defenses. Moscow says that it aims to seize the entirety of Ukraine's Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia in 2025.
I would like to note that this year has been a landmark year, significant in terms of achieving the goals of the special military operation. Thanks to the professionalism and courage of our soldiers, the heroic work of the employees of defense enterprises, and the truly nationwide support of the Army and Navy, the Russian forces are firmly in possession of the strategic initiative along the entire line of contact.
The conflict has transformed into a brutal calculus of strategic escalation. Russian President Vladimir Putin invited thousands of North Korean troops to bolster his forces. Ukraine responded by striking deep inside Russian territory with British and American long-range missiles. Experts say the British Storm Shadow and American ATACMS came a little too late. The Biden administration's hesitation has been fatal. Reluctance to supply advanced weapons like M1 Abrams tanks and F-16 fighter jets has cost Ukraine critical momentum. The Western reluctance stems from the fear of crossing Putin's red lines. But as Ukraine kept losing territory and getting battered, the Biden administration gave their approvals, but the delays meant Ukraine lost the element of surprise. For the West, it was a dangerous diplomatic tightrope that ultimately favored Moscow. Right now, President-elect Trump's looming inauguration has accelerated the conflict's intensity. Both sides are racing to secure maximum territorial advantage before January 20th, when a potential shift in US policy could dramatically alter the conflict's dynamics. Trump has promised to quickly end the Russia-Ukraine war.
He should be prepared to make a deal. That's all. Got to be a deal. No, got to be a deal. Too many people being killed. That is a war that's hard. Too many people. Got to make a deal. And Putin has to make a deal too.
Now, signs of war fatigue among Ukraine's European backers is compounding Kiev's worries. With the potential Trump-brokered settlement looming, Ukraine is fearing the West's resolve may falter. A truce could stabilize the battlefield, but for Ukraine, any deal that leaves Russian troops on its soil feels like surrender. A devastating blow not just to its sovereignty, but to the ideals of Western unity and resolve. As Russia surges and Trump's plans loom, Ukraine is facing its hardest winter and an uncertain future.
As we draw to a close this year, West Asia remains in a state of flux, with shifting sands that reflect the region's persistent instability and uncertainty. the political landscape continues to evolve, with the ordinary people bearing the brunt of conflict, displacement, and economic hardship. Amidst the turmoil, major stakeholders, both regional and international actors, are locked in a complex web of negotiations and power struggles, each vying for control and influence over a region rich in strategic influence. This year, a shadow war between two rivals came out in the open. For years, Israel and Iran waged a shadow war, attacking each other indirectly using proxy forces, assassinations, and informants. However, this year, the largely silent war came out in the open. It has become a shooting, escalating war and is no longer under wraps. It all started on April 1st, 2024, when Israeli strikes bombed Iran's diplomatic consulate in Damascus, killing 2 senior generals. This attack marked the deadliest attack in a years-long shadow war between Israel and Iran, and a major turning point in terms of their covert operation and proxy warfare. Iran retaliated by launching 300 missiles and drones towards Israel.
This is the resistance. This is the resistance front. The more you push, the stronger it gets. The more you commit crime, the more motivated it becomes. The more you fight them, the wider they become. I tell you, with the divine power of God, the extent of resistance will cover the whole region more than before.
Few months down the line, Israel targeted top leaders of Hamas and Hezbollah. It killed Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah in a massive airstrike in Beirut, and Hamas's Yahya Sinwar in a bid to seek revenge, Iran fired 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. And this time it was seen as a major escalation as Iran opted to use more sophisticated missiles when compared to its April attack. While tensions were simmering between Israel and Iran, with both the sides launching tit-for-tat attacks, Israel also intensified attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon, with the group blaming the West Asian country for exploding pager and walkie-talkie attacks that killed and wounded thousands of its members. While the two sides have reached a ceasefire agreement, ending months-long conflict which has taken at least 3,000 lives, how long will the fragile truce hold? Only time will tell. Yemen's Houthis, which are a part of Iran's axis of resistance, have been targeting commercial and military ships linked to Israel and its allies in the Red Sea. They say they are doing it in support with the Palestinians in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vows to crush the Houthis. Before we end the year, there was another major development in the region, the toppling of the Assad government. After 13 years of civil war, Syrian rebels overthrew deposed President Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. Israel has carried out multiple airstrikes on the country, targeting air defense systems, fighter jets and missile depots, claiming that the Islamic State might seize this opportunity and take control of Syria. As of now, Israel is trying to expand its settlement in the occupied Golan Heights.
In the annals of American political drama, a few stories rival the extraordinary journey of Donald Trump in 2024. A year that transformed him from a defendant facing multiple criminal charges to the 47th President of the United States of America. Like a political phoenix rising from the ashes of legal battles, Trump defied every prediction, every pundit, and every expectation. The story is nothing short of a political thriller, a saga of resilience, defiance, and the ability to turn adversity into an electoral goal. From mugshot to campaign poster, from courtroom defendant to commander-in-chief, Trump's path to the White House reads like a script too audacious for Hollywood. As the year 2024 draws to a close, the political landscape lies transformed, reshaped by candidacy that broke every rule, shattered every conventional wisdom, and rewrote the playbook of American electoral politics. When the year started, Trump was facing 3 criminal cases which stemmed from his actions before, during, and after his presidency. The first was the classified documents case, wherein Trump was indicted on charges related to the unauthorized retention of classified documents. In the second case, Trump and several of his associates were indicted in Georgia for their attempts to interfere with the 2020 election results. In the third case, Trump was allegedly accused of silencing an adult movie star in a hush money case before the 2016 election. Despite losing support and ending his first term in office in chaos and condemnation, even from his own party members, Trump risked everything to run again for the Oval Office. For starters, he cleared field in the Republican campaign and spent half of his campaign in the courtroom. He survived an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. Trump's defiant fist pump and shouting USA, USA after being aided from the ground, that became one of the most iconic images of the election season. Hence, the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania marked a turning point for Trump. And there was this resounding sentiment amongst the Americans, a powerful catalyst for the belief that Donald J. Trump is invincible. There was no looking back from there on. Trump's political team seized on their change in fortune. Trump's election campaign turned out to be one for the history books. He survived 2 assassination attempts. His opponent, US President Joe Biden, dropped out just months before Election Day. When we talk about what resonated amongst the Americans the most, it was Trump's America First policy, which seemed to strike a chord with the voters. Trump outlined the billions of dollars being spent on supporting Ukraine and emphasized that all the money would be much better spent at home. Apart from the economy, immigration was also high on the list of voter concerns. He intensified his focus on illegal immigration.
But Kamala has imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from the dungeons of the third world. And we have to live with these animals. We're going to keep our promises. Nothing will stop me from keeping my word to you, the people. We will make America safe, strong, prosperous, powerful, and free again.
There's also been a seismic shift in attitude towards Trump as he is all set to assume office next month. From US prosecutor Jack Smith dropping charges against Trump, to tech billionaires getting in line to support Trump's inauguration fund. As the year ends, Trump is busy appointing his new team. His every move, every word is being carefully analyzed and watched, not just in the US, but around the world. The coming weeks and months will show how President Trump ushers in the change he promised.
From quitting as Labour leader to being elected as the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer is the 5th person in British history to take Labour from opposition to power. His party has gone from a historic thumping at the general elections in 2019 to victory in 2024.
Thank you, thank you.
But as things don't look hunky-dory for the UK Prime Minister, Starmer suffered the biggest post-election fall in approval ratings of any British Prime Minister in the modern era. Just months after coming into office, the UK Prime Minister is already languishing on an approval rating of -38, which is a net drop of 49 points. His rating is now lower than that of former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, which now sits at -31. According to a YouGov poll, Starmer's popularity has also sunk, with 63% of Britons seeing him unfavourably and just over 27% holding a positive view of the Prime Minister. Starmer has suffered a rocky few months in number 10, with problems including the freebies scandal, scrapping the winter fuel payment for 10 million pensioners, and a budget that increased taxes by £40 billion.
We're very concerned for the future of farming. We're really, really worried that the government need to wake up.
The UK Prime Minister is now under pressure to drive growth as UK economy continues to wobble, while Starmer has promised to deliver higher living standards across every region of the United Kingdom.
We will streamline the approval process in the forthcoming planning and infrastructure bill. And driving through reform, I can announce another new target.
The on-ground reality is different. The UK inflation rate was at 2.6% in November 2024, which is up from 2.3% in the previous month. Looking at 2025, there are a slew of issues that Downing Street will be looking at. First among them being trying to improve living standards and fix Britain's underperforming health service, which are the two biggest worries amongst the Britons.
For Justin Trudeau has been a year of political chaos and self-inflicted wounds. While his leadership has come under siege from all corners, the embattled Prime Minister himself precipitated matters through actions that eroded his credibility and left his Liberal Party on shaky ground. With India, Trudeau reignited a long-simmering geopolitical and domestic firestorm with his handling of the Khalistan issue. Trudeau plunged Canada-India relations to a new low by accusing India of involvement in the killing of 6 separatists Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Domestically, his overtures to woo a significant voting bloc, the Sikh diaspora, backfired, emboldening Khalistani extremists and stoking tensions among Canada's diverse communities. This misstep provided fresh ammunition to his critics, who pointed out that Trudeau's attempts to appease the New Democratic Party supporters, many of whom align with party leader Jagmeet Singh, have placed Canada in a precarious position, both internationally and at home. Interestingly, it is the NDP leader who has escalated his criticism of Trudeau, openly calling for his resignation as Prime Minister.
People are right to be angry. They've got a Prime Minister who's more interested in protecting his own job than defending Canadians against Trump. We've got a Prime Minister who's failed to defend workers from rich CEOs like the Conservatives love, who continue to rip off Canadians and drive up the cost of food and homes. The Prime Minister has failed.
Singh's call is not merely an act of political opposition. It spotlights a broader sentiment that Trudeau's political capital is dwindling, even among those who once propped up his minority government. Adding to Trudeau's woes, in a significant blow to his administration, his Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland resigned. Freeland's departure has fueled speculation that she could fracture the Liberal Party further by positioning herself as a potential challenger to Trudeau. Critics argue that Trudeau is his own biggest problem. The Khalistan issue, for instance, exemplifies a broader pattern of short-term political calculus that overrides long-term national interest. by quoting non-aligned voters and overlooking the implications of his rhetoric, Trudeau has inadvertently empowered radical elements while jeopardizing Canada's global standing. The question now is whether the Liberals can salvage their fortunes or if Trudeau's tenure will mark the beginning of their decline. This year, Bangladesh has been at the center of political and social turmoil, marking a dramatic shift in its governance, international relationships and societal dynamics. From the ousting of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to the appointment of Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus as the interim leader, the nation's trajectory has created ripples within the region and beyond. The struggle for linguistic and cultural identity against the imposition of Urdu by Pakistan culminated in the Liberation War of 1971, leading to Bangladesh's independence. The nation's founding was deeply intertwined with secularism and inclusivity. However, recent years have witnessed a departure from these ideals, raising alarms domestically and internationally. Former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, a towering political figure who led the nation since 2009, was ousted in August 2024 after weeks of mass protests. The protests, largely led by student groups and backed by opposition forces, culminated in Hasina resigning and fleeing to India, where she sought political asylum. Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel Peace Prize winner, was appointed to lead an interim government, tasked with steering the nation towards electoral reforms. While Yunus initially enjoyed widespread support, his decision to delay elections until 2025 or beyond has sparked criticism. Many believe his governance has emboldened anti-India forces and jeopardized minority rights. Under Hasina, India and Bangladesh shared strong bilateral relations marked by trade agreements, border resolutions, and cooperative efforts. However, under Yunus's leadership, this relationship has seen cracks. Economic cooperation, a cornerstone of India-Bangladesh relations, has also taken a hit. Muhammad Yunus has long been a celebrated figure on the global stage with strong connections to influential leaders, including Barack Obama. Critics argue that this new alignment might prioritize international advocacy over regional stability, potentially undermining Bangladesh's historically balanced relationship with India. The coming months will determine whether Yunus can steer the nation towards stability and inclusivity, or whether the political and social fabric of Bangladesh will face further erosion.